Whoa.
So my pipe kind of tastes like gas station cigar, but in a good way.
Uh-huh.
I
And
don't
my
know how to describe
cigar
it.
that should taste like a gas station cigar is actually killing it right now.
All right. What's up, everybody? This is Beyond the Pipe with Chris and Sean. Today we've got Mitch Eckler from the Bad Gunsmith channel on Instagram and Hangfire TV host on YouTube. Mitch, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's up,
Welcome.
boys?
What's up? This is going to be a fun episode. What's
Yes,
everybody
sir.
smoking?
Got a Semois cigar.
I don't even want to tell anybody. Last time
You
I
should.
got eaten alive for my tobacco choices, and
Oh, whatever.
today is no different. Chris, what do you have?
Borkum Riff Cherry.
All right, are you guys ready?
What is it?
You were just saying that your pipe tastes like gas station. My pipe actually tastes like gas station.
Oh, that's not
Sir
bad.
Walter Raleigh? No, that's
I'm
good.
not going to judge at all about
We got
Codger
the
blends.
Walter Raleigh Arrow.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That'll work, man. It's
Mhm.
tobacco.
I like it. It's not.
I cracked
bad.
a tin of 2023 Anthology. Meh. That's all I could say about that.
Really?
All right.
Bad?
The tin was bulging and there wasn't any spores, so
The tin
win,
was
I guess.
bulging, and neither were you.
yeah,
I'll count that as a win then.
yeah. It'll do for the episode. I don't know if I'm
That'll
going to finish
do.
the whole bowl though. We'll see. It's one of
So-
those tobaccos that I got to have a couple bowls to decide if I'm going to actually like it or if I'm just going to off the load the tins because somebody else will love it.
I saw a video with you, Mitch. You've never shot a 50 AE before?
Nope.
Really? That was a first for you?
Mhm.
I mean, it's not weird that it would be a first for me, but like for you, it seems strange that it'd be a first for you.
I never had the opportunity to shoot one. I did shoot the 429 DE when that cartridge came out, but I never shot the 50. And I was like, okay, let's see what this is like. And I've heard plenty of people who are like, oh,
Yeah.
it's terrible, it's horrible, and I thought it was fine.
It's a lot of
'Cause-
grip. It's
Because
a
you're
lot
a
of
man.
grip. That's a big freaking frame.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge. So the reason why I have that. So for everybody else, I have the Car and Magnum Research are updating their Desert Eagle line. Now they have new for the L5 model. Actually, I can get it. The L5 model has updated colors, so now you can get all different kinds of colors. What I have is blue with gold, polished gold small parts. And I was shooting a video for it. And that was the first time I had shot 50 AE. And that was pretty cool. It was nice.
That's cool.
Sweet. For those that don't know, Mitch is a gunsmith and an enthusiast and a firearms instructor and a business development consultant and a lot of different things. So Mitch gets to handle a lot of very cool hardware.
30 other hats over there that I could just like keep
Yeah, lots of
But
stuff.
not-
That's what we're talking about here.
putting on. But yeah, it's all gun industry stuff. And this spring has been particularly busy. So
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Is it busy just with your business or busy as in the firearm industry as a whole is cranking?
We got firearm industry is never not still. Firearm industry is always moving and either stepping forward, sidestepping, just always in a state. So there's always something new going on. Consultancies have been pretty steady. They usually are, but I got a couple of good projects right now that I'm really excited about. Some stuff I can talk about, some stuff I can't yet. But yeah, we got some cool projects going on. You see me sporting the Thunder Ranch. We got the TR shirt. I was up there not that long ago, hung out with those guys. Very cool facility, cool place. Hung out with Clint a lot, but Clint's starting to slow down a little bit. He's starting to slow down a little bit. So if you want to get up there, if you still want to, you want to get up there, take classes with him, book your class and go.
Cool.
But
Do they have a helicopter?
He's like 70. He's 76. So, do they have a helicopter?
Yeah.
We were talking about they don't. They don't, but there are places that do, and there are places that do like hog hunts and stuff like that, like out of a chopper.
Okay.
This is not one of those. This is not one of those locations, but it's a school. It's a school that teaches you about gun handling, and it's a fighting school. That's what it teaches you.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
a really cool. It's a cool hang. Anybody, and I will say, like, if you're there were people in the class that I went to that that bought a gun, flew it there, and had never shot it before. So like,
Oh, wow.
if you think that you're gonna feel like a fish out of water because of wherever your experience is, like wherever you are in that journey, don't feel that way. Go and take the class because they're pros and it's awesome. So yeah, those
That
guys
is cool.
Those guys will get you going. Chris, you did corn pipe or corn stem. What'd you do?
Oh, sunflower.
Oh, sunflower. That's right.
I could show that. Why not? Oh wait, I have it right here.
Sunflower.
Actually. Yeah. So I grew sunflowers. I usually grow sunflowers. I got girls, so like they always like the sunflowers. And so I did some sunflower. I did a sunflower shank on this.
Like the stock.
And, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Whoa.
So,
yeah, that is cool. So a reverse calabash.
There we go.
There you go.
It's pretty deep. I mean, it goes till about here.
That's cool.
And it's kind of an octagon shank, huh?
It's just whatever.
Like the natural.
Naturals
shape.
like
Interesting.
hexagon.
That's
Just
pretty
grows
cool.
like that. And it's got these little like nubbins
nice.
on it. And I mean, it's durable, dude. Like people don't realize, like
once it's dry, it's like bamboo.
It's like bamboo. And then what I did is I shellacked it. So it's like really durable on the outside. And then on the inside, there's like I did a really thin cut of shellac and it soaked into the wood and it stabilized it. What's up?
I have a question.
Go ahead. Question.
How do you dry it? How'd you dry those? Or is that like Chris's 11 herbs and spices? We're not giving that up.
Oh no, you just cut the plant down. And what I did was it's better if you hollow out the inside.
Right.
So like if you just have like a dowel, you just push it through the whole stalk and it just pushes out all that foamy shit that's on the inside because they're hollow naturally. And then you pop that out or clear it out a little bit and you just put it in the corner and it just dries. It's always better too, if you have a natural material, let it dry like on the plant, like let it dry in state. Like if you have like even bamboo, if you can like clip the bamboo and then just leave it there in the ground and let it dry super, super slow. Because it's the bamboo that we use is actually the roots, not the shoots. So if you cut it and you just leave it and then come back like a year later or, whatever, and dig it up and it's not rotten, it's like perfectly dry.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
So did you intentionally hollow that out last year and save that for this purpose? Okay.
Yeah.
So you hollowed it out when it was relatively green?
No, I just let it dry when it's up. Like I just pop the heads off of the sunflowers and just let them dry for like a month or two. And then cut them down, put it in the shop, let them dry more.
It's pretty sweet, dude. It looks
It's
good.
weird how solid it is. Like you wouldn't expect it to be like, you can
like
hear
wood.
Like how that tinny sound that comes off of it. It's like really solid.
Yeah, that's pretty
Like,
cool.
it's
I'm going to
weird.
start looking in my yard and see like what random things I can use.
It's not the coolest shape. I mean, I'll be honest about that. Like this is kind of like a devil ants sort of shape, but I don't know. It was just a test to see what it would do, and
it'd be interesting to run that hexagonal shape like all the way through, like through the bowl too. Would be kind of neat. I don't mind. I don't think that's uninteresting though. I think I feel like that's one of the like a creative thing. Like you made it, so it's a little tough for you to see that, like to see the character, because like as a test for you. But I think that's actually like a fun. I think those two things are fun together.
Oh
Like
Yeah.
that
like it.
Devil's Dance, I think actually shows off. It makes you go, "What the heck is that?" Then
Mhm.
you know, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that big stem, because they don't really they're like a juxtaposition of each other.
And that's a first. You just saw
Yeah.
it. That's a world first. No one's a historical first. I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
Yeah, that's cool.
I've never heard of it. That's pretty awesome.
Buddha Bamboo is cool too. But I don't know. There was something about finishing this that just like
It was satisfying.
it was just, yeah, it was really like weirdly satisfying because it's such a strange material, and you're like, why would you use that? It's like, well, it works, and it's actually lighter than bamboo, like quite a bit lighter.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the point of like the center mass on this thing is actually like,
Wow.
I can't even get my finger on it because all of this is so light compared to the bowl, and it's not like a huge bowl, but like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Do you think it's
can't
because
even-
it's more hollow?
Yeah, it's more spongy.
But also, for that size of pipe, you would have used a much smaller piece of bamboo, like smaller diameter anyway.
For bamboo, but I'm saying like the distribution of mass is like
Yeah.
right here. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of real estate that is just super lightweight, and then this is that's all your weight there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was fun. It was something I've been really busy working on a lot of handmaids and workshops and stuff. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, April, May is like always fucking crazy here. Like it's like our schedule's so tight that you're like, I guess I'll never be able to do anything ever again. You know, it's like one of those things where you just throw like mini temper tantrums in your head like every single day. And then once we come out of that, it's like school's over and you're like, oh, okay. And now you can kind of, because this is an interesting thing, and we could probably talk about this as a subject, but the creative process requires boredom. Like it requires space.
Yeah.
And that's why I always tell my daughter, because she's in this mode now. She's like almost 8, and she just constantly, I'm bored. I'm like, good. I hope you're bored every day forever, because that's when you have a spark of creativity and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to make this happen. But if you're busy all the time, there's no room for that creativity. Like you get little spots of that little creative genius that'll pop in like, ooh, that's a cool idea. But like to do something truly meaningful, right? I feel like you got to be a little bit bored once in a while to like to get that spark. You have to.
Zen state.
Yeah.
There's that,
Kind of,
and then there's also flow state, right?
Mhm.
Which I think has been totally captured by this like modern bullshit productivity, office space, stamping papers. What do you do for a living? I don't really know. You know, driving a Mercedes when you're 27 at some like corporate job. Like I feel like it's been co-opted with that. Like, ooh, I'm in my flow state. The fuck you are. How about crack a beer at like 10:30 at night and you're like, we're going till 4, bro. That's flow state. That's, you know what I mean?
See what comes out of it.
It's like I have no direction. I'm hopping in the car and I'm going to end up where I end up.
Chris, that's alcoholism, buddy.
I
don't
don't know what happens after the 4 hours.
Chris is relabeling just blatant alcoholism for his flow.
There's a certain point.
I'm in a flow state, motherfuckers.
That's a flow state. It's not alcoholism.
That's my flow state, dude. That's a 30 rack. Okay, like this is we're not flowing. You're flowing.
Oh,
okay,
yes.
you're flowing.
I told this
You're
story to a
naked in your
guy.
living room. Okay, you're flowing. We get it.
You just reminded me of a story. So it's so funny. There was this guy. No, sorry. When we were having our house painted, there was a group of guys, right? And it's always, and I mean, no disrespect to painters, but like you always kind of know. You're like, guys maybe had like kind of a rough life, right? Or he had a bump in the road at some point.
Yeah, I get the inclination.
I'm not saying everyone. I'm just saying like more often than not when I see like a house painter, I'm like, oh, and I never knew why. I could never figure it out. I'm like, electricians, that guy looks like he, is on the ball.
You ever see the sheetrock people?
Same thing.
Whole different man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like with the painters, again, no disrespect to painters, there's always like a thing. So one day, they're getting close to finishing the house. And I come out and I was like, hey, yeah, it looks great, guys. You want a beer? And the guy's like, whoa, no. And I was like, oh, that's a weird response. And he's like, you give me a beer and I will be waking up on Sunday in Vegas with a dead hooker in my room and probably a negative bank account. And I'm like,
that's his flow state, man.
He's flowing. And I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, has that happened before? And he's like, maybe. And I was like, he was like, yeah, dude, like we're all sober. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, dude, we're all like, we found this job through like AA. And I was like, oh shit, good for you guys. My dad was, in AA. So it's like, I have a deep respect for that stuff. But it was funny the way he said, he's like, you give me a beer. And it was like a Thursday. He's like, I'll be waking up Sunday afternoon with a dead hooker in my room. And I was like, okay.
You saw the next 72 hours like so clearly. He was like, dude, I know exactly how this is going to go.
It's happened before.
He saw the whole thing play out.
No, but going back though, the flow state that I'm talking about is like, what's that happy place that you're in, right? Booze or no booze. I think it tends to be better if you do have like a beer in you, or like if you're so inclined, like a pipe, or maybe maybe you smoke a little weed and you just go into the flow state, writing or working on a car, whatever it is. There's something that like triggers this, like, you know what I mean? Like everything is right with the world. Like you're grooving, you're listening to good music. And I feel like you can't do that with most jobs. Like you can't just like, I'm going to hop into my flow state and build a spreadsheet in an office with like 16 other people. It smells like farts in here. I feel like you can't do that. I feel like it requires a certain level of like distance, at least mentally.
I think
it's just presence.
I think it depends on who you are. Because like there's plenty of people who are really turned on by whatever job you or somebody else may consider mundane, right?
Sure.
For some people who like that. Like I remember sitting next to this lady on an airplane, and talking to her for like an hour and a half, and she was a consultant for bankruptcy, and I was like, so how did I had a million questions. A, because like how many times do you sit next to somebody like that, and then B, like she was completely engaged. Like no one ever asked me questions about this. No one's really. I tell people what I do, and they immediately. And I'm like, you're completely like. She just turned on, like immediately just turned on, and I'm like, great, go ahead, like talk me through it, like tell me about that.
Consulting people on how to go bankrupt,
on how to get through it and how to either hold on to or negotiate their business in a way that it was going to continue, or how to consolidate it or liquidate it, right?
Yeah. So okay.
How to like
I could see how the end result would be rewarding. At the end of the day, you are doing your job, but you're also helping people with peace of mind in what's probably the most stressful part of their life. I think you're able to just do it. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we all have like different versions of it. Like I can't have tobacco or alcohol until I'm like out of work, until I'm done.
Okay. Right? Like as a reward almost?
No, it just goes with my vocation. I can't show up drunk, right?
Like yeah, of course.
Go to the range. Like I can't go to the range.
Mitch has one cigar and he ends up in Vegas with a dead hooker in his room.
The next 48 hours. Like, yeah, it just doesn't. The two don't really go hand in hand. So lots of times when we're at like media events or when we're away on business, there's the shooting time, and then there's alcohol time, and there's like a big line of delineation between those two, because most of the deals happen in the bar after the right,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
after everybody gets back from the range. But like on range day, like everybody's ready to go.
You got to be sharp.
Oh yeah, you got to be sharp. It's a safety concern for sure.
Yep. So I think we had to I kind of had to find. I have to chase the happy chemicals in the brain with projects that I want to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like find the things that I'm excited about and go do it.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
that's what happens to me.
The happy brain chemicals aren't enough sometimes.
Sometimes they're not.
Sometimes you need to. But I'm also making something too. Like I feel like there's like the composing music, building things, writing a book. Those are all like throughout history, they're all the craziest people.
Yeah. I like to make I like making things. I would like to make things for other people. Most of the time I find that I have a hard time letting go of the thing that I made. And
because you like it?
Yeah. Yeah, either because I like the thing or because I don't want to make that many of them. I want to make like one.
What are you making?
And that's it.
What is it that you're making?
I would make like for a while I would make like guide rods for CZ97s.
Oh,
I made a bunch of those actually. They pretty much paid for my hobby lathe. Now that I'm thinking about it. But cool. I made a bunch of those. I was making brass followers for Winchester 92.
Do you have a visitor there?
Yeah, my kid.
Oh, I thought that was. I thought that was like part.
And he gave me some. He gave me some cotton candy.
I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
I thought it was like a joke. I thought it was like part of like a green screen thing that you had behind you because
like
the lighting.
What you're making.
The lighting is like kind of made him look kind of cartoony with like the purple in the back and like the bluish light in front. I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah. So I used to make that stuff, and then I was like, I would make like a little batch of them, and then I'd sell them, and then I get like another order or something else to come in.
That's
and
cool.
I was like, then I'd make a bunch more.
So do you not like the order part of it? Is that what makes it less enjoyable?
I don't like making the same thing. I don't like the repetition.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't like.
I know with pipe making, it can be that like there's new pipe makers that'll come about, and they're just making a bunch of stuff, and then it'll sell, but then they'll start getting commissions, and they have to figure out like the deciding factor of, am I going to continue taking commissions and doing that because now it really becomes reality that it's a job, or do I just make what I want, and if it sells, it sells. And I think there's a very fine balance in there. And I think like with this flow state thing, and like Chris was saying, if you're working at a desk, are you really able to be in a flow state while you're on a computer? Maybe if you enjoy it, maybe not. Yeah. Your kid's funny in the background.
This is good though. It's good prop work, dude.
Yeah, it's like, good job, buddy.
We're doing a recording.
This is a very important podcast. Literally dozens of people are going to watch this.
This is my kid.
How's it going, dude?
Hi.
But I think with pipe making, if you want to do it like as your profession, you've got to find that balance and figure out like, okay, how many days a week do I want to work making commissions? Yeah. How many days a week do I want to actually just make something for myself? Yeah. Not like for me to keep, but like just for your inspiration. And I've got to get better about at least taking one day a week where I just make something that's inspired, make something that I just, I sit down, throw on some music, have a pipe, and just let out the creativity and see what happens at the end of it. That's how I find the balance of it.
Let me ask you a question. So if you're doing that, can you make money while you're doing that? Can somebody, if somebody was just like, hey man, here's some cash, like just make a pipe. Would you use that time to like do that thing?
Yeah, that's actually like one of the best ways to commission a pipe with almost any pipe maker is having somebody just say, hey, here's my budget. Here's roughly what I want. Go for it. You will get a better pipe every single time.
Every time.
So like when I would do commissions for like a retailer, if a retailer says, hey, I want 12 handmade pipes from you, I kind of take that as a mental vacation. It's still work. I'm still getting the monetary trade, but I take that as an opportunity to just try new things, see what sticks, and have fun with it. It's not, I don't have a guideline, and that's where it's really fun. But the reality is, if you want to be a full-time pipe maker, you're taking commissions. If you're not doing that, that's not going to last very long unless you're really freaking lucky. And even then, you may have to start taking commissions at some point.
You got to be careful. Some guys in the past of like when we had all the boom stuff that happened, I feel like we're the only ones that talk about how crazy those times were. But
not many others are around.
That's true, but like the ultra high end guys that were still high end then, I don't think they even like they had exposure to it, but I don't think on the same level because like a lot of like the YouTube pipe community, like psychopaths, where they would just be buying pipe after pipe after pipe. I mean, it was crazy. Some of the stuff was crazy. Like there were some guys that I was selling a handmade pipe to like every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For like years.
It's different times now.
Like, or you'd have certain guys who would come out. Like we had one guy, I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he's still around, but this dude, he had like I want to say it was like a construction company or something. Way too much money. Like he's one of these guys that gets like a brand new truck every year, that kind of thing. And he bought, he must have amassed like 500 or 800 pipes in like a couple of years. Like he was buying pipes like almost every single couple of days. He'd be like, oh, I just bought this. And I'm like, why?
That's
what
wild.
Are you doing with it? It was crazy. Like this guy was buying so much shit. But let me go back a little bit. I think I might have strayed from my point too much. Oh, the commission thing. There were certain guys that would take like the goal was to have like a year-long list, right? Like he was like, I have all years worth of work ahead of me. I'm just going to do that. But then like a couple guys, not too many, but a couple guys amassed like a 2 or 3 year wait list. And one guy in particular who I was really close with, and then he just like bounced like at the end of this, he like had enough. He couldn't do it anymore. He was so stressed out. He was working literally double shifts. Like he would work a shift during the day and then a shift at night. He would sleep like 4 hours twice a day. It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
And he was cranking out pipes. Like I've never seen anyone hand make pipes at this level before. Like he was doing at least 2 pipes a day, fully handmade, and sometimes 4 to keep up with demand. And he wasn't even taking up a chunk out of his list. Like it just kept stacking. And he was like, he basically emailed everyone. He was like, I'm done. Bye guys. And he walked away, and he couldn't do it. And it's just like, there's a certain point at which it becomes like crazy. Like I keep my list super short. I mean, I shouldn't say I keep it. It just is short because of like my cost and also like exposure. And there's a lot of stuff involved in there. But like I had a guy hit me up the other day and he was like, hey, I've got an idea for this pipe, not sure when I want to do it. And I was like, my books are open. I could have that done tomorrow or the next day. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, I'll just do it. Like, no big deal. And if I have other stuff in the middle and like someone has a super cool idea and I find the block, I will, like, I don't play fair. I'll just do that pipe because that's what I want to do. And then I'll go back to the other one I'm doing. I'm like, you're never going to wait more than like a month for a pipe from me. But that's also because like, this is what I do. A lot of guys have other jobs who are like, yeah, I'll make it. And like, when I have free time on the weekend, it's like, no, I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah. Like how many pipes is the 2 year wait list? It might not be as many as people think. You might have a guy that says, well, I've got a 2 year wait list and that's 12 pipes because they have a couple hours a week to do something.
Yeah.
It's not really the same.
Like Jeremiah Sandel, I think makes 24 pipes a year, something like that. Like he does not make very many pipes. But there's guys that make even less than that. I think like Teddy at one point, it was said that he was making like 10 pipes a year, or something. I mean, it just depends. I'm more of a volume over Like I like getting into the mode where it's like, what are you doing today? Same thing I do every day. Like 7 days a week, 365, I'm making pipes.
Dude,
I don't get sick of it.
I got a 3-year wait list. I only make one pipe every 3 years.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Very highly in demand. Like this guy, you can't even get a seat at Nobu. Like you can't even get into that restaurant, dude. Dig through the trash cans and back, you peasant.
I'll make you one sometime in this decade.
I don't know. It is odd though. Like the spin, like I guess going off of that, something that I think about a lot is the spin. And this is, I don't want to uncover all the secrets, but like the spin of the image, right? So there was an article of a pipe maker. I'm not going to say again who it was, but a lot of people know. And I'm not faulting him for this at all because, you know, it's
I wrote the article.
Yeah, right. But like there's this fake it until you make it attitude too that a lot of people don't really get, right? So some people crack into the business, whatever it is. I'm going to use pipe making as an example, and they're like, I'm going to use Duck Commander as an example. Duck Commander is a fantastic example of this because I just finished Phil Robertson's book. If you haven't listened to it, The Theft of America's Soul. I think he wrote it in like 2019. Very cool. Very cool.
Text that to me.
Oh my God. Such a cool book. It's very gospel, right? There's a lot of religious stuff in that because that's how Phil was. But like the message, like I'm saying I don't mind it. I like that stuff. But like even for guys that aren't super religious, the message in there is so important right now. Like right now, it's like if we don't pop onto this, we'll call it the straight and narrow or whatever, like it's going to be really freaky in like 10 years. Like, I mean, this is what happens. It's fourth turning behavior is essentially what's happening. This like debauchery and, you know, everyone that you see online has like an OnlyFans, and it's just this grotesque amalgamation of Sodom and Gomorrah, basically. I'm not going to get preachy. I'm just saying, like, this is stuff we talked about for a while. But going back, Duck Commander. Duck Commander is really interesting because the way that Phil lays out, like, what they made, like, the first year was like $12,000. Like, the second year was like $15,000. And the way they presented themselves was not in a grandiose way, right? But they were Duck Commander. This is what we do. We make calls. They present themselves in a positive light. Like, we're doing well, you know? Granted, these guys are in Louisiana. They probably don't have super high cost of living, especially at the time, like early 2000s. But like they built it into a business and stayed themselves, right? They didn't go out and be like, you know, our first, you know, I'm going off point here, but like there's a certain spin acting as if, right? When you first start and you're still getting the hang of things, you're still getting better. Act as if you are a professional, right? Act as if you are making $200,000 a year doing this. And what will happen by osmosis or magic or whatever, you will rise to that level that you present yourself at.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get too serious, but I've noticed this with some guys. They're like, I'm just some, you know, redneck backcountry guy that's doing this thing. It's like, well, don't present yourself like that. Present yourself like some redneck backcountry guy that's like killing it.
Yeah.
And
people will want to be a part of that.
They'll want to be a part of it because there's like a partnered legacy when you're a customer of something like that, right? Not only can you say like, oh, I was buying way back then, but you can say like, this thing still has value like it did, you know, then, or it has even more value or whatever. Maybe I'm not explaining my point correctly, but yeah, that's it's interesting because this pipe maker did that and he's at the top of the charts, you know, like he's killing it. And I thought he was killing it back then. And I was like, wait a second, why am I not killing it? But I technically was, you know, commensurately, I was doing the same thing he was doing. I just didn't feel that way. I wasn't presenting that way. I was still like a, you know, a lower, not low end. I was like a wannabe high end guy at the time, you know, just a weird thought, something I was thinking about the other day.
I only make 10 pipes a year.
Don't go too scarce. That's the other thing too. This bullshit where they're like, no, it's invite only. Like, I think that's just, if you can produce at a level, produce at that level. And that's not just with pipes. That goes with, these car builders where they're like, I work on one car a year and it's $100,000 car or whatever. Like, well, can you do more than that? Because if you can do more now, you can make 2 people happy.
And have $200,000.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with Esoterica tobacco. It is in such high demand.
Yeah.
The secondary market is just dumb.
Mhm.
And you would think that they have the ability to double
They
the
do.
amount that's out there.
They do.
But they choose not to. And I don't really understand the gain other than, okay, well, maybe this is just a hobby. Maybe they do it as a loss for taxes or something. I don't know. They're clearly not helping the secondary market because the secondary market doesn't help them.
Mhm.
But if there was more supply, everybody could enjoy the stuff and not have to fight for it, basically.
It wouldn't lose value because it's more available.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the secondary market, it would lose value. But honestly, my thoughts on Esoterica is if let's say they increase their price by like 30 or 40% on a retail side of things. That's a lot. But if it was available all the time and people could get it, I don't think that would actually hurt them.
No.
I really
What do you
don't.
got, Mitch?
I think there's an advantage lots of times that is sort of like unseen by the consuming public, where if we start to produce or if we increase our supply, that doesn't necessarily immediately mean dollars.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's very, very profitable to run lean and mean, right? And like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We have a really small team. All of our warehousing is in like this alternate location. We can produce this much inventory and we're selling this much. We don't necessarily need like a larger market share right now, right? So there's something to be said for like, okay, we're going to run this. We're going to run this for a minute and we're going to see what's on the other side, right? We're going to see where this brand ends up landing in like 6 or 8 months, and then maybe we can make a calculated move on like, okay, let's get a little bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
But it's not always an immediate benefit to just be like, all right, well, cool, let's just up production.
I think the audience matters too, though. Like, think about different categories of audience, like your general buyer versus your enthusiast. Like with guns, for the general public, you go out and buy a Glock. You get a Glock 19. That's fantastic. The enthusiast is going to kind of maybe scoff at that, but also have a little bit of respect. But they're going to be looking at stuff that's more in like the $3,000 or $4,000 range, that maybe even it has a little bit of custom aspects to it. And that's kind of where like pipe making is. I mean, clearly Peterson and Savinelli pipes make way more money than we do because they're selling to everybody. It's kind of like with watches. I recently got into the watch world and am learning about all of that. And it's really interesting that there's enthusiasts that are willing to pay a lot more for something from a very small place. And they're doing well, but at the same time, they're not even coming close to the numbers of like Citizen or Seiko, who is just offering something to literally everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think pipe making kind of falls into the same thing. Like, do you want to have a mass produced pipe that everybody can have access to? Or do you want to go and buy something that's like bespoke, I guess?
You could have both.
You could have both.
And
most people do.
But the tobacco thing is interesting too, because I don't think that there should be an aftermarket at that level. In fact, I don't know, maybe some people find this to be an unpopular opinion, but like if you can buy a tobacco from a retailer and then you can turn around like the next day and put it up on tin bids and get like 3x for it or even 2x for it, that company is not producing enough of that product to satisfy the market.
Yeah. Just because you were lucky enough to grab it.
Yeah.
Like you bought it the second the email hit.
Like we see that with manufacturers now who are producing, like in my world, we see that for manufacturers who are like, yeah, okay, so like we have a unionized labor staff. We're making so many, products, right? And we're only producing. This is the number that we can produce. This is what we can
Mhm.
make every year. And then somebody grabs it and they're like, "Cool!" They put it up on Gunbroker.
Yeah.
Great. And now it's at a 40% markup from its already 40%. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, that handgun does not compete in that market anymore. You've
Mm-hmm.
priced it out, so whoever gets it is either collecting it to keep it unfired in a box somewhere,
Yeah.
or is just not going to be satisfied with the product that they just got because it doesn't even compete.
Yeah. I mean, I see shit on tin bids all the time, and I'm like, that's not even that good of a blend. It's not even like it's worth the retail price. But when you say, a guy bought that for $15 and he's got it on tin bids for 45, I'm like, it's not that good. Like it's just rare. It's just unavailable. And people, new guys, especially, and I'm sure this happens in the gun world too. New guys will come out and be like, oh, I was able to snag this thing and it cost me like 5x its retail value.
Yeah,
and you're like, but it's not that cool, like,
Yeah.
and I think that's a scam. Like that's a scam. That's what a scam is. It's just not like specifically manufactured to direct at anyone. It's like an accidental scam.
I think
I think it's uneducated buyers. I think that's what it is.
Maybe.
One of the biggest issues that I see in my world, and I think there's a direct translation here over to your world, is that we see a lot of people. I get a lot of people who are looking at things that have a decorated service history, right? And they're like, that decorated service history and it's used by military law enforcement all over the world means that it will work great for me. And that's not a one-to-one rate, right? Just because it works.
That's exactly how it is with pipe tobacco.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's going to work. Like, doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. So like lots of times, that's why I have like 4 editorials that like I constantly kind of cycle back through with all my posting, because I'm like, look, your first gun, like this is how you pick it, right? This is what you should be looking for. Like this is trying to get people to like, okay, like this is a good place to start. It shouldn't be great for X. It shouldn't be great for Y and Z.
Yeah.
It needs to do like this, right? This is what you actually want, right? And most of the times they're like, oh yeah, but that's not what my uncle said, right?
I knew a guy that did that with an AK one time. That was his first. He's like, they're bulletproof, all stamped parts, Soviet Russia. This thing, it was like surplus, and I was like,
Can't kill it. Yeah,
sounds good to me, But then he was like, it just sounds like a rattling tin can when I shoot it, and I'm like, well, that's part of the reason it works. It's like when they say like, what's some of the jets, like like fighter jets, they leak. They really leak, like on the ground. Like what was the SR-71? Just is like,
it's like horrible
bullshit. Like it's so
really
finely. Yeah. Oh my God. It's like the biggest hunk of shit on the ground. But once it gets up to 60,000 feet, the thing is tight as a drum, and it's perfect. And it's designed to just be perfect in its operating environment. And that's the same thing with like the AK, even with the 1911s, like they're not really that precise, but they will work under any circumstances, and that's why people are like drawn to it. But yeah, anyway, that's a funny parallel.
Right now I'm reading The Gun by CJ Chivers. I'm not sure. I'll drop that in our text thread, but that it's a story about the AK, its development, and where and why.
It's a cool story.
It's a really cool story, but it goes into Maxim and how we ended up with machine gun technology, like where machine gun technology and what the thinking was at the time. Talks a lot about World War One, and it's a really fascinating book from the perspective of firearms isn't your, if that's not like what you're really excited about, it's a really interesting read. Yeah. From a sociology sociology perspective too.
Interesting.
So going back to the tobacco side of this, if you're a new pipe smoker and you're looking at all these prices on tin bids of like, let's just say Esoterica or old McClellan's tins that are going for stupid amounts of money. Don't think that you need to chase that because of the price and because of people saying that it's good, because you might not appreciate it in the same way. It's like
I don't even appreciate it, dude. I
Yeah.
don't even like. I've been smoking pipes for 25 years, and I don't even appreciate like some of the stuff that people think is like crazy awesome.
Yeah. I was talking with Mitch about building an AR and all these, cool things that I could add to it. And, should I get this trigger? Should I do this? And he was just like, nah, just, build it and go out and shoot it a bunch. And it's kind of the same way with pipes and tobacco. Like, you can go out and get something really expensive, but do you understand what you're trying to accomplish with that?
What's your goal?
What's your goal with that? Like, you don't need to have something crazy. Go out there and smoke the same blend
exactly
10 bowls in a row and learn that to understand what you're trying to go for. Then you can make a little more educated decisions on, okay, maybe I do want to spend $200 on that tin. Personally, I don't think there's a single tobacco out there that's worth that. I really don't. But there's a lot of people that go for that.
To sell either, though. Like, from a seller's point of view, like, I have a lot of really aged nice stuff, and the stuff that I have aged, I don't want to sell it, and it's not worth $200 a tin for me. Like, I don't even know what price I would put on some of the stuff. I have a tin of cigarettes here, State Express 555s from like the 50s, and I could probably get like $600 for it, but I wouldn't sell for $600 because I'll never be able to try them.
Yeah,
ever, because I would never spend that much for it. So it's like I'm a hoarder when it comes to shit. Like, once I have it, I'm like, that's what I wanted, so I'm gonna hang on to that. Like, why would I trade that for money?
Yeah, Heed the advice of the expert in the field, which is, and I was holding this up when Sean was explaining it, because that's exactly the conversation that happened with this. The first pipe I ever spent money on, like real money, was this one. And he was like, what do you want? Like, what do you want it to do? And I'm like, casual. I just want something nice. Want something nicer. These are the shapes I like. These are the colors I like. Great. Right. And then I got a hold of them later, and I was like, I like that shield thing. Just mess me up. Like, here's just
do it.
Yeah, just do it. Like, I just put some wild colors together, do something that you think is cool, because that's what I want. Right. Yeah. I just want something for my buddy. Right. I think
it's the best way to do it.
But I think heeding the advice of the expert in the field is a good way to fast track yourself, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to jump too, and what you end up doing is you end up making a false jump. You jump to something that you don't want or didn't want anyway. Yeah,
it happens at a low level, man. Like, the number one thing I see in some of the bigger groups is, I'm really looking at this Peterson, blah 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 blah, whatever. Like, I really want it, It's a little high. It's at my budget, like the peak of my budget. Should I get it? I'm like, why are you buying that? Like, that's overpriced. Like, why don't you buy a Bones pipe? Or I mean, for $200, there's a lot of guys that'll make you a handmade pipe for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't know. They don't know.
If somebody reached out to you, right? Or they reached out to Sean, like, I think both of you guys would entertain that call. I don't know if you'd take that, like, if you would take on the pipe, but if they're like, hey man, I got $200,
that's a Glacier. That's a workshop. 200, 225. Like, that's a Glacier or a workshop. That's why we have that line, is to compete. Don't see
either one of you guys like backing away from somebody who's like, hey, I have money.
Oh, hell no.
Like,
I'll take your money.
Can you hook me up? Like, can I get a pipe?
I'll take everyone's money. Yeah, I'm a hustler, dude. Are you kidding me? Like,
I do talk people out of it, though. Occasionally,
I'll talk people out of some stuff, but like, dude, the commission that I'm doing right now, the guy comes to me and he says, and he has a lot of my pipes, like my nice stuff, and he's like, I want a really fancy Devil Ants, and I'm like, I don't know if I can make it fancier. Like, it's kind of like not a fancy pipe.
Yeah, it's like
and he wanted it blasted, and I was like, I could do it at Arbutus. That's going to look really cool. But then the pipe is so petite, right? It's not a big pipe. It's like 4.5, 5 inches long. There's not a lot of room I can't carve and blast it because there's not enough meat there. I don't want to put a trim ring on it because it kills the overall like silhouette of the pipe. I was like, I don't even know what he was expecting to pay, but I'm going to offer him like a super fair price on it because that's me. I mean, some guys would be like $900. I'm not going to do that because the value proposition it falls apart. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right.
I think that being a fair maker or going towards like a fair maker that will talk you out of some crazy ass ideas that you have is probably good on the durability and value side. I had a guy one time real quick, and I know we got to wrap this up, but he wanted a flat bottomed poker. And I didn't know what he's talking about, but he's like, I want the shank to be in line with the bottom of the bowl, but I want it to be a pencil shank and also spiraled. And I'm like, that's not physically possible. Just that part. But having a cylindrical pipe with the shank at the very bottom and it's a pencil shank, you're only leaving like 2 mil at the bottom of the chamber. Like that's not functional or durable. And he got mad at me. He was like, well, I'll take it to a maker that can make it. And I was like, no, I'm telling you, in this physical realm that we live in, you can't make that and expect that pipe to be durable. It's not possible. And that's like, you got to trust. That's where you got to trust the right people. This is why with the watch world, they have references, right? We don't have that here. We have like people that get scammed for decades from the same guy and they keep buying shit from him and no one ever corrects it because they're too afraid they're going to get like ostracized or like, oh, you're just a hater. No, most of us know who the good and bad eggs are in this bunch. But
just start asking questions.
Yeah, just ask questions. I guess there's too many feelings in the pipe world. Like watch world, people are kind of dicks, and it's okay because it's like, hey, this is real value we're trading around. In the pipe world, everyone's like, well, I don't want to sound like the dickhead, but then also like, I also don't want people to get scammed. Like I don't know. It's just because it's a small family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, we better wrap this up. But first, Mitch, a couple questions. What did you have for breakfast this morning? What is the last movie you watched? And what are your plans for the weekend?
After your bubble bath.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, dude, that's a good one. Hell yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome.
You can get a flintlock kit. I would suggest doing one of those. So you can build it. That's what I would do. I want to build it. Okay. I thought it was Kilder's. Kibler. Oh, we were way off.
Kibler.
Samsonite. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. So if you guys want to see that, I'm sure Mitch is going to have a whole bunch of photos on his Instagram and YouTube. So be sure to follow him at The Bad Gunsmith on Instagram, and YouTube is Hangfire TV. Is that correct?
Yeah. And go watch Mobland on Paramount because holy shit, what an amazing. And Tom, dude, it's got everyone. Helen Mirren's in there, Tom Hardy. It's crazy.
Oh wow. I'll check
Guy
that out.
Ritchie, dude. Guy kills it every time.
Right on. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. This has been Beyond the Pipe with Chris and Sean and Mitch for the day. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment below if you enjoyed this. Give us suggestions for the next episode, and that'll be it.
All right. Adios.
Later.